Hello again, and welcome to another episode of Your Opportunity Partner. My name is Professor Art Gogatz, and if you like these videos and if you like the series and what we're talking about, please do subscribe. Please like the episode. It helps us a lot. We're a new channel, and anything you can put on in terms of a comment or question or like, it helps us. Thank you very much. Today, the title of the episode is Opportunities for Entrepreneurs. And this follows on what we talked about in the previous video, where we said, well, statistically, most people in the world, they don't like their jobs. I mean, that's what the polling shows. We showed that for a lot of years. This is nothing new. This is old research. It says most people feel they have to go to work. They don't want to. They love the weekends. They hate going to work on Mondays. Okay, so what can you do? Well, in the last video, we said basically you have three options. One, make your job better, which means make your attitude better, make your relationships with your boss better, because, again, most people don't leave their jobs, they leave their managers. And that means that your relation with your manager may not be so good. Well, make it better. Try to ingrain yourself more with the people in power. Try to upgrade your position. I mean, I remember when I was young and working as a professor, the students wanted to make me, at the time I was teaching at the business school of the University of Nancy in France, and the students wanted me to be director of international studies. So they pushed the director and all the people in power to let me have that position, and didn't faze me. I was happy to do it, and but you can make yourself more important in any job, and therefore improve your position, your status, the environment. So that's your first option. Your second option is leave, find another job. Well, most people don't like to do it, but you can find another job. You can always find another job. Your third option, that we talked about in the last video, is start your own business. And that's what we're going to talk about right now. Okay, when you look at some of the research and some of the statistics for entrepreneurship, it's a subject I do teach, you see the good and the bad. You see the scary and the exciting. Okay, let's start with the exciting. Well, these statistics I'm going to give you come from the U.S. Reason I'm always quote a lot of statistics from the U.S. is that they publish a lot. Other countries don't, but the U.S. publishes a lot of statistics. And one says that 72% of the richest people in the U.S. are first-generation entrepreneurs, meaning that they made their money from starting a business. You have a lot of examples. You have Bill Gates in Microsoft. You have some current examples. You have Bezos in Amazon. Lots of them. They started with sometimes very little, but they started with a new business, with an idea, and they built it into a really huge success. So that's the success stories of entrepreneurship. The other side is a little bit more scary. It says that half the businesses that open any year will fail that year, within a year. And more will fail within 5 years. So what does that mean? It means that starting your own business is a very good way to get rich and a very good way to go bankrupt. Both. And is there a risk involved? Yes. But is it a good risk? Yes, really is. Now, let's take a look at who starts businesses. And a lot of the statistics you have to realize are not that scary when you analyze them. Most people, when they have a job, they have to go to work. They have no choice. They need the money. Same thing with entrepreneurship. Same thing with starting a business. More people have to start a business than want to. Why? Okay. Let's say you have no education, maybe high school, but no really solid education. So you have no education, you have no experience. Who's going to hire you? Nobody. So what are your options? Start your own business. Now this happens a lot, especially in developing countries. Why? That's all they can do. They can't find a job. They have no skills. They have no talents. Start their own business. Now, do these people succeed? Probably not. So that factors into a lot of the statistics which say that at least half of the new businesses that start every year will fail. Statistically also, 75% of the restaurants that start each year will fail. That's the worst kind of business to start, at least from the research. Now, it also makes sense. Why do these businesses fail? And again, we go back to when we look at it, it makes sense. Almost all of these people have no experience running a business. It's the first time they try it. Well, think back to some of the things you've done. Sports, for example. You don't play really well the first time you try a sport. You may do have talent in it, you may be okay in it, but you don't really dominate. You don't play well. And if you start a business, you always have competition. So let's say if we translate that to sports, you learn a new sport, but you're playing against people who have been playing for a long time. They're experienced players. You gonna beat them? No. You're gonna compete with them? No. Anything you do takes practice, including starting a business. Now, you could take a course, you could learn entrepreneurship and how to run a small business, but there's a difference between theoretical and practical. Think about a skill. Do you learn it bang fast? No, it takes you time. Anything you do well, anything you're a success at, requires time, dedication, and commitment. So, what's this mean? Well, give you another statistic from the US. The average millionaire entrepreneur went bankrupt 3 times before they made $1 million. Trump went bankrupt 3 times. It's not surprising. Why? Well, again, you're not good at anything the first time. The more you practice, the better you get. And most people, overwhelmingly in entrepreneurship, unless you have no other choice, unless you are one of the people with no education and no experience, and all you can do is start your little grocery or restaurant or small little business. But the majority of us who start a business because we want to, and it fails, we give up. We equate going bankrupt with having to beg money on the street. That bad. And so what happens is the people who are most qualified to succeed by running a business give up after their first failure. So what's this mean? You can succeed in running a business, but you probably won't succeed the first time. Maybe not even the second time. But you will succeed if you keep at it. Now again, we go back to the statistic. 72% of the richest people in the U.S., first-generation entrepreneurs. So it's a good option if you don't like to take orders, if you don't like somebody to say, this is what I want you to do, even though you think it's foolish. If you want to be your own boss, if you want the responsibility, it's a great profession for you. Now, I tell my students one thing, which is true. Some people do well in a big company. They need to work for a big company. Some people do well in a small company, and some people do well in startups. It's a different kind of work, and it's a different kind of personality. You have to see which one. I always recommend to my students, get a job in all three types. See which one you're happiest and go for that. Okay. Now, in the time we have left, which is not that much, I want to talk about how you go about starting a business and what to avoid, what to do. It's good if you can come up with a good idea for the business. We call it a competitive advantage in business. It's something that differentiates you from your competitors. It's a reason that the customer says, oh, I'll buy from you. Because customers don't have to buy. 80%, this comes from marketing, 80% of what we buy, we don't need. Ladies, how many pairs of shoes do you have? How many do you need? We're buying happiness. We're buying things, but we really don't need them. Okay, so you have a new business, either selling a product or it's a service. 75% of the businesses today are service industry businesses. And you got to convince somebody that they want your product, not need, but want, and that your product or service is better than the competition. Okay, now we'll go back and we'll go do another video in the next couple, which follows in and goes into more depth on how you can avoid some of the big mistakes when you start a business. But let's just touch on some today. First, most important thing is marketing. Most entrepreneurs are not very good at marketing. They don't know very much about it. They may be good at certain areas of business, but usually they're not marketing people. Now, you did have some. Steve Jobs was a marketing guy. Howard Schultz of Starbucks was a marketing guy. But most CEOs are not. Okay, so what does that mean? Hire or get to work with you a good marketing person. If you don't get enough customers in a certain period of time, because break-even point on a new business historically is a year after it opens. But most of the time, you can't keep maintaining your business if you're losing money. So you have a time limit on how you can break even and be successful. You need customers, and you need them fairly quickly. You need a good marketing person who knows marketing communications, not marketing research, not so much sales, marketing communications. What are marketing communications? It's what you tell your customer so that they want to buy from you. Okay. Now, I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, and they tell me, well, I couldn't afford a good marketing person, so I hired someone who was available, which means you're hiring somebody who maybe worked in marketing once or took a course in marketing. They're young, they're inexperienced, but they're cheap and available. Disaster. Why? You go about it wrong. Don't hire a marketing person. That's a mistake, a big mistake. What do? You get someone with experience who wants to work in a startup, and they will take a small salary for eventually a percentage of the business. Which means if the business succeeds, you give them a percentage because they were really important to make your new business a success. Now, from your point of view as an entrepreneur, well, you're giving away maybe a percentage of nothing because your business is not really worth anything when you take this person on, the marketing person. Most entrepreneurs that I know don't do this. Why? They don't want to give anything away. They want to keep it all themselves, and they want to manage a bunch of young, inexperienced people so they can feel boss. Now that sounds stupid. It sounds, no, that can't happen. The CEOs have to be really smart. No. Okay, just because you're a CEO, does that mean you know anything about business? Does that mean you're smart? Does that mean anything? No. It doesn't mean anything. You just have the title of CEO because you started the business. Doesn't mean a thing. So what I found is a lot of CEOs, small and medium SMEs or startups, don't really look at this as I want somebody who wants to work in a startup. Somebody who wants to work in a startup is risk-taking and they're ambitious. Why? If they work in a company for a salary, they'll never get rich. But if they work for a startup and the startup goes big, they can cash out a lot. So they're looking for a percentage of the business, and you can get a good, experienced person that way. Second is hire the right people. Don't hire your friends. Don't hire your family. Don't hire the person who's available. Hire smart. You hire one bad person in a startup, they can wreck your business. One. Only one. You hire because your family may be lending you money, and they say, oh, your nephew's not working, take him. And you take him. But it doesn't work out. And not only doesn't work out, he can mess up everything if he has the bad attitude. Hire right. Now, in the next video on this, we're going to go more into this subject, and I'll tell you how to hire, give you some examples. We'll get into it a little more. You have a really good, very good, really good opportunity to be successful. Start your own business, but start it right. Don't copy the ones that are out there that are so-so. Do it correctly. Learn how to do it and then do it. Thank you very much for today. See you next time.